everyone. Welcome to episode 30 of the Just One End podcast. My name is Elizabeth Zimmerman. You can call me Liz. I'm coming to you from Cockburnsville, Pennsylvania, where I live with my husband Greg and our two children Eric and Tilda, and also our cat Sunspot, who apparently has decided that this is the time of night where she goes crazy and just runs around the house. So if you hear that in the background, my apologies. Today is April 27th. Just about a month since I posted my last podcast. You can find me on Instagram as Just One End Podcast, and you can find me on Ravelry as Algebrina. Just a side note, you can also find me on Instagram as Algebrina. I don't post there as much, but that's where I tend to put my non-nitty stuff. Like I said, I don't post there a lot because most of my life is nitty, so... I think that's everything. Oh, there's also a Ravelry group for the podcast, though there's not a lot going on in there right now, but it does exist. So feel free to hop over and join that group. Like I said, it's been about a month since I did my last episode. I've been meaning to record an episode for the last couple weekends, but just haven't managed it for a multitude of reasons. It has been long enough that illness has gone through our household twice since my last podcast. The kids got a stomach bug like 3 days after the last one, the last podcast. And then we've currently got a cold going through the house, which you will probably hear in my voice. Greg and I both have it. Tilda seems like she's getting it, and Eric hasn't shown any sign of it yet, but I'm sure that he will because that's just what happened. So if today is a bit scattered or low energy or just off, that may be why. We'll chalk it up to that. Also, apologies for last time there was a cable sticking up in, I think, this corner of the screen. It's because I fell over in my chair. I had spent a long time getting everything framed and centered and leveled and making sure everything worked fine, and then I fell over and knocked over the camera. And then I just wasn't going to spend all that time again and totally missed that there was a microphone cable just sticking up. It's not there this time. I checked, so we're good to go there. Technical difficulties, they happen. I was not going to re-record that sucker because it was long enough already, and re-recording is just never fun. It always feels more awkward than the first time. Unless the first time was really, really bad, then sometimes the re-record is a blessing. But that wasn't the case here. It was just a cable sticking up. So anyway, so let me talk to you a little bit about what I've been up to. I do have notes because it's, I don't know, it has been a while. A lot has gone on. And that's one of those things that us podcasters say. If I'm looking away, it's because I'm looking at my notes. Like, you can't figure that out already. Anyway, so soon after the last episode, I think the New Jersey Wool Walk happened. I think it was like the next weekend or so. I went up. I hung out with the cocktail hour at the Coop gals, Liz and Leanne. I visited them at their alpaca farm, Arrow Acres Farm, which was so much fun to see. You can go around and feed the animals carrots and get to meet them all, and they don't particularly like to be touched, so you can't really pet them, but if they did, they'd let you. They're just a really, really fun place to go and visit. So if you are ever in the New Jersey area, and I can't remember exactly where they are, I'll put it down here, then you should definitely go check them out. I don't know what their hours are currently, but they have a website where they list all their hours. And then they have a little farm store. What do they call it? Oh, I think they call it the Coop. I think the Coop is the store that they record from. But they sell their own yarn. They sell some other yarn. They sell handmade, because Liz crochets. They sell handmade things out of alpaca yarn. They've just got a lot in there. It's a cute little shop, so you should definitely check that out. I also spent the day at Paige's shop at Frame and Fiber. There were a ton of people there. Unfortunately, I'm not going to remember everyone, so I'll try not to name too many names, but the really exciting ones not really exciting. Everyone was really exciting. But the rare treats were Natalie of Remembrance's Pottery was there from all the way from Canada. It was a big deal that she made the trip. So we got to hang out with her. Definitely picked up some of her mugs and other things. And then we also saw Sue from Legacy Fiber Arts came down with her husband Dave Stokes. Paul Miller was also in the shop, which is always a treat because he's not always there. So they were fun to hang out with. And then a bunch of people were there. A lot of them local to Paige that, I've met through her, who I got to hang out with. So that was just a ton of fun. I loved going to the New Jersey Wool Walk. If you can make the trip next year, it's definitely worth it. Just for the interaction. I did not go to any other shops. There were a lot of shops, and I mean, I wasn't really there to buy yarn anyway. I was there to hang out and knit and, chill. So, so that's why I went. Yeah, but the New Jersey Wool Walk, definitely a ton of fun. I have a bunch of stuff to share from there. I recorded a video at the time of what I picked up, which I may or may not insert. If I don't, I'll go through the stuff at the end. We'll see. There we go. All right, it is Saturday, April 6th. I just spent the day at the New Jersey Wool Walk. I first stopped at Arrow Acres Farm, which is not technically one of the shops at the Wool Walk, but I wanted to stop by anyway because I've never been there before. And I got yarn, which I apparently left in the car, so I'll have to show it as part of the podcast. I then went to Paige's shop at Freeman Fiber and hung out there for a couple hours. I then had to leave because I had some work to do tonight. There's just an annual event thing that I needed to be able to do some project work for. So I had to come to a hotel, which is where I'm at now. It's very fancy. It's not at all. So I checked into a hotel in the area just so that I would have reliable internet access and be able to log on to do this thing, and then be able to rejoin the fun. So I went back over to Paige's and hung out after what I was done. But let me show you what I purchased, because I figure I will do this as part of a little insert instead of part of the podcast. It'll be in the podcast, just its own little thing. But first I got this pottery, and I'll have to get the name of the potter from Paige, because I can't remember who it was. I want to say it was Greg the Potter, but I feel like he has a different name for his business. But I got this mug. It's a great size. I love a nice big mug. And then Natalie was down from Remembrance's Pottery, and she still had some mugs from her trunk show. So I'll have to cut some of this out because it's very crinkly. So even though I managed to pick up a mug from her a couple months ago, I decided, while they're in person and I don't have to pay for shipping, I would go ahead and get one. So I got one of her knit stitch mugs. So this is a green one. So I got that. Along with one of her little dishes. She can use for like tea bags or notions or something like that. And I got the last sweater. So I have that. And then I picked up a knitty mat, which, believe it or not, I don't actually have a knitty mat right now. So I picked that up. And then I also grabbed a little bit of yarn. I got some Black Cat fibers, I believe is what it's called. Yeah. So I got 2 skeins of DK that are semi-coordinating that I can use in a shawl together. It's Ono Tokyo and Brigitte, I'm assuming is what it's called. So those 2 are the yarn that I got. And then I'll have to show you the Arrow Acres Farm yarn that I got also, which is their own yarn. It's alpaca. It's gorgeous. So I'm looking forward to showing you that. Okay, and then after that I had my monthly book club, which I love book club. It's something new for me. I've never done a book club before. So we did an American Marriage this time. It had a very interesting conversation. Next month is The Night Circus, which I know everybody who has read it has loved it. At least everybody who I know who has read it has loved it. I have tried starting this book 3 different times. And I'm going to miss the next book club because it's the day I fly out to Texas. So I won't be going anywhere. Or I won't be going anyway. But I still want to read the book. But I have a couple of issues. I think people who have, they say they love it, but there is usually the disclaimer, it does start out slow. So I'm having a hard time getting through the beginning. It's also, I'm listening to it on audiobook, and the narrator is Stephen Fry, who I love. He narrates the British version of the Harry Potter books. Jim Dale does the American version. Stephen Fry does the British version. He's a fantastic narrator. He also does the Pocoyo shows, which my kids are super into right now. But I don't know. I cannot get into the narration. And I think it might be because a lot of the audiobook reading that I do is very narrative. It's very characters talking about what's happening to them. Because I read chick lit and easy things to read. And this just isn't that way. It's not the characters themselves telling the story, at least at the point that I've gotten to, which, like I said, is not very far. So anyway, I just have to suck it up and commit to listening to it. One of the other problems is that the last time I started and was like, this is it, I'm going to listen to it, I was the passenger in the car and Greg was driving us home and I fell asleep. So I think that the next time I have a long drive, I will put the audiobook on because I won't be able to fall asleep because I'll be driving. So that will just make me get through that beginning part, which is apparently all I need to get through, and then everything else is going to be fantastic. So, and I mean, it's just that it starts out slow. It's not like it's terrible. So I think that I'll be able to get into it. Anyway, so book club was fun. And I'll let you know how I do getting through the Night Circus, because even though I'm going to miss book club next month, I am committing to actually reading the book. So, after that, we had Eric's birthday. Eric turned 7. Every year for his birthday, we go to the Red Caboose Motel, which is real train cabooses that are converted into motel rooms. They put beds in and bunk beds and a bathroom and a TV. Like, it's a little motel room inside a caboose. We go every year. I think this is our 5th year going. So every year since he turned 3. 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, every year since 3. And it's right next door to the Strasburg Railroad, which is world famous, apparently, because a lot of people travel there too. You always hear some really interesting people around, like there's different languages being spoken and accents and things in the busy season. Anyway, steam engine that you can ride in Strasburg, Pennsylvania. And it is Strasburg because it's Pennsylvania, and that's what we do. We have lazy asses. Okay, so we did that. That was lots of fun. And then lastly, recently was Easter Sunday. This past Sunday, so a week ago now. And we hosted the dinner at our house. It wasn't necessarily really Easter dinner. It was it was the April birthdays for my family. There's about 20 of us in my immediate siblings, spouses, children, family. And we tend to take all of the birthdays for whatever month and celebrate them on one day. So it was Eric and my nephew Lincoln. They had their birthday in April, and they chose grilled cheese sandwiches for their birthday dinner. So our Easter dinner was grilled cheese sandwiches, which was really great. It was fun to do as a big group. And it's going to get added into our family dinner rotation as one of the meal options. We did an egg hunt at our house. We have it very organized. We have color coordinated plastic eggs that we use every year. Each kid gets assigned a color, and then all the ladies fill them with the candy, although my brother-in-law helped this year. And then all the men go and hide the eggs for the children, although my sister helped this year. That couple, they swapped. So we hid all the eggs. Greg was in charge of hiding the eggs for the older boys, and he did too good of a job. And there was one egg that did not get found until today, actually. So it was missing for a week. We had a really big storm blow through over the past couple of days, so we think that it blew the missing egg loose from, I think it was in a holly bush or something. And yeah, so Greg found it on the ground today. So, but the egg hunt was just, it's so fun. It's always fun to do. The kids always have a blast. And the kids are, I mean, I think Vivi's 2 and Christian's 17, turning 18 in like 2 months. So it's a wide range of kids and they always have fun. Oh, and I was sticking a picture here to show you the age, you know, all the nieces and nephews and their height order and age order. Anyway, you'll see the picture. It'll make sense. Oh, and then also, sorry, I said last thing, but also on Easter Sunday, my group Bonus Track did a performance of it's the song was "Be Still My Soul." We performed at my brother's church, and also one of the ladies in our group. They go to the same church, so we went to their church to perform it. I didn't record it. I feel awkward recording, especially in church for that. But if you search for Eclipse 6, that's the arrangement that we did. It's really pretty. It was a very nice arrangement. It went off very well. I thought it was a good performance. It was actually the second time we've performed it because it was recently added to our repertoire because somebody asked us to perform at his retirement, which I can't remember if I talked about last time, but it's not important. A friend of ours was retiring. He wanted us to perform there, and he joined us for a song, and he requested that song. So we all learned it, and he sang it with us. And now we've rearranged it slightly so that we can sing it without him because he's not normally part of our group. And now that's going to make it into our regular rotation for performances, I'm sure. So yeah, so you should definitely check out that arrangement though. If there is a YouTube video to it, I'll link it below because it's very pretty. Okay. That is all the recent stuff. That is not all the recent stuff. The actual last thing was today. So today was local yarn store day. I did take the time to drive out to Landisville to go to Flying Fibers, which is my favorite local yarn store, though it is not very local to me anymore. I had ordered some yarn, and it came in a while ago, but it was right when the kids got that stomach bug. I was supposed to go pick it up that day, and then they got sick, and then I didn't go. So this is my first chance to go back out and get it. So let me... Sorry, there's going to be a little bit of crinkling, but I want to pull one out. I ordered a sweater's quantity of Quince & Co. Chickadee. Right here. See if it'll... There we go. Quince & Co. Chickadee. This is the colorway Iceland. It's like a gray. It's like almost slightly light blue. It's very pretty. I really like it. Oh, I got a sweater's quantity because I went out a long time ago to hear Rachel Brockman talk about her designs at Flying Fibers. And she talked about a cardigan that she did called the Mastin. Mastin cardigan or just the Mastin. Anyway, I really liked it. I decided I would pick out yarn for it. It had to be ordered because they didn't have enough, and it was also back ordered at Quince & Co. So it took a while to come in anyway. Plus I couldn't pick it up. So I finally have my sweater's quantity of yarn to make that cardigan. Of course, I have a lot that I'm working on right now, so it's not going to happen right away, unfortunately. But it will happen in the near-ish future, if not the immediate future. So I took Tilda with me. It was a long day, but she did pretty well. We ran a couple other errands while we were out, and we got lunch together, which we don't always get the chance to do that, so it was fun. Just me and her went to P.F. Chang's and got lunch. Yeah, and we had a really nice day. So that was actually the last chatty bit things that have been going on. I think we're almost 20 minutes in, so maybe time for some yarny stuff. I have 2 finished objects. The first one is called the Bell's Mill Cowl. I can't remember who the designer is. I'll try and remember to put it below. I just remembered at the last minute to grab this, so I don't have any information on it. The yarn, though, is Malabrigo Rio, so I picked it up at Pages while I was there for the wool walk. I started this while I was there for the wool walk, though I ended up ripping it out and restarting it because I used the wrong needles and my gauge was too tight. But it is a really cool cowl because you knit it back and forth. You do join it at one point, but then you don't knit it in the round. You continue to knit back and forth, and it makes a tube. And it's really cool how it's constructed because it is not like anything I've ever knit before. It makes total sense how it works when you're actually doing it, but it sounds very interesting that you never knit it in the round, but it's a tube. So I really like it. I actually haven't blocked it, but I'm not sure if I will. I kind of like its current look and feel. I don't want it to get too loose and drapey because I hate when a cowl just like flops around your face. So it will probably stay as it is. But it's really pretty. I can't remember what the yarn is. Again, I will link it. I have a project page for it, so I'll link that below. And then you can see what the colors are. But they're like a purpley, like a dark and a light purple that I think went really well together. So that was my first finished object. And I kept calling it my Hell's Bells cowl because I couldn't remember what it was called. So Bell's Mill is what it's called. Or Hell's Bells. Okay. That's my first finished object. And then my second finished object is a cardigan that I made for Tilda. So this is the front. There we go. And then the back. Very pretty. Has a nice lace detail. I just finished this in the last couple days. I did forget that it had pockets. So I've sewn one pocket on here. I just did that today. I forgot. Until today, and then the other pocket's gonna go here. I just haven't put it on yet. So it's 99.9% done. Tilda has not proven herself knitworthy yet. So I made this out of cheap yarn because she doesn't usually wear the things that I make for her. So the yarn is Lion Brand. It's ice cream, I believe, and I think the colorway is strawberry. It's very nice. I liked working with it. I steam blocked it, which I hadn't done before. I've never steam blocked acrylic. It makes a huge difference. I'll stick in a picture to show you what the pockets look like when they're steamed. And it does soften it up a little bit when you steam block it too. But she has actually worn this. She wore it twice. So I finished it late on Thursday night, I think, and she wore it on Friday to daycare. It took a little bit of trickery to get her to do it. Because first, I ignored it first. I was like, if I don't get too excited about it, then she won't be put off by it because this little girl, everything needs to be her idea. She doesn't like to be dictated to, which is fun to parent that way. So she was not fooled by the reverse psychology. I tried some guilt. I was like, Mommy worked really hard on that, and be really nice if you could wear it, which also didn't work. And then finally I was like, all right, well, why don't you just try it on? And then if you want to, you can wear it. And she tried it on, and then I think she just got distracted anyway, so she forgot to take it off. So she went to daycare wearing it. But then she also wore it today. So she actually has worn it. And I think hopefully she will continue to wear it, but we'll see. You never know with Tilda. But yeah, let me tell you about this pattern. So the pattern, I can't remember who the designer is in that. I can't remember her last name, but she designs under Melody's Makings, I believe. The pattern is the Wisteria cardigan. If you buy the pattern by itself, it's very expensive, like $16, $17 for the one pattern. I will say there are a bunch of sizes in it. It goes from a girl's small, which is what this is, and it's a little bit big on Tilda. I think she lists it as size 5 to 7. So she's got some room to grow into it. And then it goes up to some very large adult sizes. And she also doesn't, it's not charted. So all of this is written out. So it's pages and pages and pages in this pattern. She also has tutorial videos for each section of the pattern, really. It's a very well written and involved pattern. It obvious a lot of work went into it. Still, $60 is a lot to pay for one pattern. But it turns out that Melody's Makings, she also does like a monthly subscription group. Like you can pay, I want to say it's $10, $9.99 a month to be part of this group, and you get access to her entire pattern library. There's like a community that goes with it. There's a bunch of stuff that goes along with this subscription service. And like I said, you access her entire pattern library. And I think that she offers the first month free. So I signed up for it. I got the pattern. I don't know that I will continue to stay on past the first month. I will stay on one more month so that I actually do pay for it, because I feel horribly guilty getting the pattern for free. But I'm not sure I'll stay on beyond that, just because she does a lot of crochet and I'm not a crocheter very often. So I just don't think that I would use a lot of the patterns that she has in her library. But definitely worth checking out, especially if you are a crocheter. She does have some knit patterns. I have not browsed her library extensively. She also has a crochet version of this sweater also available. But anyway, if you're interested, check that out. I did really enjoy knitting this sweater. It has some very cool construction. It's top-down raglan, but then there's also some neck detail that you add, and then the band that goes all around. It's very nice. I am going to be knitting this sweater for myself, which also may entice Tilda to wear it more, hopefully. You may remember last week I said that I was knitting a Prosecco sweater, which I started and was going to rip out, and I think I did immediately after. Yeah, there you go. And I have decided I'm not going to be knitting the Prosecco right now. I may eventually, but this yarn is not going to be used for it if I do. It's a sweater's quantity of yarn. It's nice. I like it. It's Wine is the name of the colorway. It's Northfield Valley yarns. It's 70% merino, 20% baby alpaca, and 10% silk. I got it off of Webs as a kit, and it's going to be my Wisteria cardigan because it's a sweater's quantity of yarn, and I'm not excited for the Prosecco right now, but I'm excited for the Wisteria. So that's what it's going to be. And we'll see next week or next episode if that's still what it's going to be, but I'm thinking probably, because I'm going to be casting it on soon. I need a minute. So normally, this table to the side of me is filled with projects, and this table to the other side of me is filled with purchases, or some combination of the two. Today, this table has a hot beverage and a box of tissues because, ugh. Before I move on, let me tell you, this mug is by Woolly Woman. I picked it up at the Shenandoah Valley Fiber Festival 2 years ago now, I think, year and a half ago. I love this mug. It's huge. It's sheepy. It's got sheep on it. It also has some chickens. There's a chicken there and a chicken there. It's very cute. I don't know where else she vends. I asked her if she had anything coming up. I think she said she had something in June. But I think it was in Fredericksburg, which I'm assuming is Fredericksburg, Virginia, and that's a bit far for me. But hopefully I will make it back to the Shenandoah Valley Fiber Festival this year, and hopefully she will vend, because I definitely need more of her mugs in my life. Also, I am wearing my Optimist shawl. I am in pajama pants and a sweatshirt. And I was like, let's dress this up a little bit for the podcast. So I'm wearing the Optimist shawl. I knit this sometime last year, I think. I love this shawl. Every time I wear this shawl, I get compliments on it. Most people say I love your scarf, but I always hear something about it. It is mosaic knit, so it's, cheater color work, one strand at a time. Super easy to do. It's got a lace section. The gray and the green are stranded dye works. I want to say Highway Code and something else that I can't remember. And then the peach is Medusa Yarn, who is also a podcaster called The Professor Knits. I don't know, honestly, if she's dyeing yarn at the moment, because I have not been following a lot of podcasts lately, so I am way behind on her. But if she is, it's Medusa yarn. So it's very nice. And I love this shawl. It's one of my favorites for sure. Okay, so those are my 2 finished objects. I do have sort of a finished object to share. I'll call them mini finished objects. I have gone down the stitching rabbit hole lately. I have been really enjoying stitching and shopping for stitching things because as a cross stitch that I actually want to make now says, shopping for yarn and knitting with yarn are 2 completely separate hobbies. Same goes for stitching. Research, looking at patterns and fabric and everything. Totally different hobby from actually stitching. But I have been stitching a bunch. So one of the things that I started is called I don't know if it's called anything. It's the Animal Advent Calendar from Brooks Books Publishing. It is free online. You can download each pattern at 0 cost. I will put the link below for it. They are really, really cute. So I started with one, and I was going to just stitch 1 per weekend, and that was going to take me until about mid-October to finish. So this is the one. Let me hold this nicely. This is the one I started with. I got some fabric that was big enough to do all 25, and I'm just stitching them all on part of it, and then I'll cut it apart and finish it after. But this is the first one. This is, I want to say it's Caffey Cat, maybe? It's a cat. They all have names. I don't remember what all their names are. But she's super cute. She's got like a little fish gingerbread cookie, and she's ice skating, and she has this cute little poncho and a holly behind her ear. So super cute. Didn't take long. Took me about a weekend to do. I was like, all right, I can keep up with this. I'll do 1 a weekend. And then I didn't do it the next weekend, so I was like, all right, I'll catch up. And then I did 3 more in like 3 days. So now I have 4 of them done. This one is, I think it's Peter Polar Bear. He's wearing an I Heart Cocoa sweater and holding a steaming mug of hot chocolate. This one is Mary Mouse. She's got a little tutu and a candy cane and little ballet slippers. And then this one is, I'm going to forget his name. It starts with a D because he's a dog. Somebody dog. Duncan, maybe? I think it's Duncan. So he's a little Scotty dog wearing his adorable little plaid sweater vest. Gosh, it's the cutest thing ever. And then he's got a bone with a bow on it, and this tiny little bow was a lot of fun to tie. So those 4 are done, which I think, because I haven't picked it up again recently, I think I'm back to my schedule of 1 per weekend, even though I did 3, one right after another. Putting it down for a while puts me back. But like I said, I have all the fabric for the rest of it. This is fabric I picked up from everythingcrossstitch.com. It's Jocelyn, which I really, really like knitting or stitching with. It's definitely going to be one of my go-to fabrics because apparently I do that now. I have go-to fabrics. I'm a stitcher with a capital S, like I'm a capital K knitter. So it's a lot of fun. Like I said, it's free. If you are into stitching at all and love adorable cuteness in little projects like that, definitely check that out. I think I'm going to finish these myself. I have been researching how to finish. I have a handful that I've done, and then I'm like, I don't know what to do with these. So not even just like how to finish them, but like ideas of what to do to finish them. Like I don't know that I'm saying that right, but basically, like, I didn't know what options there are for what you do with a finished cross stitch. That's what I'm meaning to say. So I did find a website, blog, and floss tuber, and every cross stitcher has probably heard of her, but it's the Twisted Stitcher. She's a finisher, and she has blog posts and videos out there of finishing techniques. Like every way that she finishes, she basically shows you how to do that finishing, which is incredibly generous of her to share that knowledge. It sounds like she's a very busy finisher, so I don't think she's taking business away from herself by doing this. It's just very, very informative. So when I get them all done, I am going to be finishing them myself. I think I'm going to do a flat something. I don't think it's a flat fold, because a fold you actually like have it set up, but it's basically like something flat, and turn them into hangers so that I can like string cording and then hang them up to do the advent calendar during December. So it's going to be really, really cute. I have a ways to go before I will be at that point, because I don't want to finish one before the rest of them are done. I want to stitch them all and then finish them all. So it may not be this year, honestly, even if I do, keep up with the one every weekend and finish it in mid-October and actually do the finishing in the next 2 months. There's a lot of stuff that I want to do, so it may not happen this year, but we shall see. But as part of this big stitching project, because it's 25 little projects, and each one has its own pattern with its own list of materials. So I needed a way to be organized for all of the floss that I was using. I have never been a big fan of bobbins. I also rarely, I was not really a capital S stitcher. I would buy kits, like dimensions kits, things like that, when I was in college and high school. And I would stitch those. I'd never had a fabric stash. I never had a floss stash. I just stitched what came in the kit, and that was it. And then like a decade. Yeah, I went from decade to month. About a decade ago, I have a cousin who is a stitcher. They come into town for holidays and stay with my parents, and we hang out and play games and do a bunch of stuff. She brought her stitching with her one year using this binder called Stitch Bow. And I went out and bought it immediately a decade ago, and I haven't really touched it since. So I pulled that back out and decided to actually use it. So this is the travel binder. It's a soft binder. It zips all around. It's got handles. And then inside you've got the binder sleeves. And there's some pockets here, pockets on both sides. So I've got extra floss in here. I keep my snips in here. This has a little fabric bit that you can, all your, already cut pieces that you have strands left of, stick on here. I also stick my needle in here when I'm not using it. It's really cool. But this houses what's called the Stitch Bow system, which these are the binder pages for it. You can see there's little slots, and each of these is a skein of the floss put onto a little stitch bow, and you take the little thing that wraps them and you slide it onto the side thing so you can see what the number is. So you get it organized that way. When you need the floss, you just like unravel a bit, take it off, use it. I love this system because I find bobbins to be very fiddly, and not that great of a system anyway. Like, I don't think that there's any benefit of bobbins over using these stitch bows. And these stitch bows are so much easier because you take this bit and you like stick it into one end of the whole skein, you slip off the little sleeves, and then you pop this end on the other one. There's no winding, it just pops on. It's fantastic. So I've got all of my floss for all 25 of them organized into this binder. It's actually just 3 binder pages. I only have one of each color in here. I do have extras of the colors that are used very often, and that's what in the pockets. So as one of these empties, I'll grab my extra and stick it on. But it's been really easy to find all the colors that I need and pull them out real quick. So I really highly recommend this this system. Like I said, it's called Stitch Bow. It's by DMC. DMC actually makes it. You can buy the binder individually. You can also buy a hard binder that holds more sleeves. That's more for like storing your stash. This is more for like travel for a specific project. You can buy individual stitch bow holders, like the stitch bows themselves. I think they come in packs of 10, and you can usually buy 3 packs of 10 as a kit. And then you can buy the sleeves individually too. So it's very cool. I invested a bunch in it, like I said, when I heard about it 10 years ago and then didn't do anything with it. So it's really nice to actually be able to use it now and realize, you know, this is actually really cool and I'm enjoying the way that whole process works. So anyway, Stitch Bow. Definitely recommend it. Okay, I also have a little bit of progress to share on my year-long stitch along that I have made recently. I finished the January section. I don't think I had finished that before. And I've got half of February done. So I have the one dude, and then there will be another dude for the rest of February. Obviously it's April, it's almost May. I am far behind. But I am planning to participate in Stitch Mania. Kind of in my own way. It sounds like, I don't know much about it, but it sounds like it started out as not what it has evolved into anyway. I think if it's the Facebook group that I found, they actually started as a group of friends who did 15 starts in the first 15 days of May. Everything I've heard is now 31 starts through the 31 days of May. Or some people work on whips. Some people just stitch every day. So I'll be probably doing a combination of the two. I do want to start each of the 21 remaining animals that I have. Just maybe get just the border down or something on each of those. I want to probably at least start each of the months in my stitch along. So that's March, April, May. So that'll be 3 starts. So that gets me up to 24. There's at least 3 patterns I can think of that I bought a long time ago and want to actually do something with. And now I actually have some fabric that I've purchased as a stash, as something that I can just say, okay, I want to start a project, cut off a bit and start it. So I may do those. I think that gets me to like 27. And then I bought some kits in some late night shopping last night, which haven't arrived yet, but they will in the next couple of days. And some of them are just little cutesy things that I thought would be fun to work on. So I may actually have 31 things to start. I don't know if I actually will, but I will at least commit to stitching every day through May. Even if it's just a couple stitches on existing projects, I want to at least pick up the stitching because I am having a lot of fun with it. And now that I know how things can be finished other than just sitting in a embroidery hoop, which is not my favorite way to display things, I'm actually really excited to see what I can, put up around my house. And then my last thing to share with stitching is a whip that I have been working on. It's one of those snarky projects. It says this took forever. It is taking forever. I finished the bottom flowers. I still have to do the top. This one will be displayed in a hoop, and it will probably go on my craft wall along with my yarn pyramid and my other finished stitching, which I totally forgot that I need to show you. So I will grab that in a second and show you. But yeah, so that is the last stitching project I'm currently working on until Stitch Mania starts. It is in my new bag. I picked this up at the New Jersey Wool Walk. This is one of Allison's bags, who is Daisy Lane Designs. It's really cute. It's got otters on it. It's a drawstring. It's got red and white polka dot lining. It's super cute. I really like it. It's also the perfect size for this project. It would be the perfect size for socks, but I rarely knit socks, so it's perfect for this one. Okay, let me grab my thing that I'm going to show you. One of the options for displaying your finished projects is framing. So when you are a capital S stitcher, you also have a framer typically. My framer is Paige. Paige the framer. So when I was up for the New Jersey Wool Walk, she had finished a framing project for me. So I brought it home. I'll try and show you without any glare. This is my 2018 Clouds Factory Stitch Along. So it's the Legendary Creatures alphabet. I've shown it in its bits and pieces on the show. I cannot remember if I showed it finished before I gave it to Paige. I think I inserted pictures, but it is done. There's the whole alphabet. I'm not going to go into the characters. I think I've talked about them before, but it's very cool. I love having it framed to go along with my 2017, which is already on the wall. And then, of course, I will be having Paige frame my 2019 when that is done at the end of this year / probably the beginning of next year. So that is technically also a finished object. Okay, I am losing my train of thought now. The cold is hitting me hard. But let me see if I can stay focused enough to finish this. So, some things that I'm working on right now that are not stitching. I do have some knitting projects. One is a test knit. So I do not typically do test knits. I've done a couple. I did the Gretna hat. No, I didn't test knit the Gretna hat. I think I just bought the Gretna hat. But I did test knit the Gretna jumper from Rachel Brockman, which I really enjoyed the process. So I recently heard about Yarn Pond. I think I heard of it through word of mouth and then kind of forgot about it. And then Kino Knits, who I met at Maryland last year, had posted that she had a couple patterns that she had testing calls out for on Yarn Pond, and she had a link in her profile. So I clicked through and checked that out and looked at some of the testing calls and found one that I thought was interesting. So I am doing a test knit. I can't really tell you anything about it. It says it's teasable, which I don't know what that means exactly. But I figure I'll show you the yarn and tell you that it's a shawl. And that's all you'll see for a little while until it's done. Although I'm making good progress, so it'll probably be done in the next couple weeks. I think it gets released May. I think I'm able to talk about it like May 14th or something. So I'll talk about it soon. This is one of my 3 colors. And this is the other. And then this is my 3rd. So it's kind of like a fall motif that I've got going on. The green and the orange are Beautiful Mess Yarn Works. So that's my friend Jamie. She does not dye yarn anymore, so you can't get it, unfortunately. But it is 100% superwash TK. This one is fur, and this one is Market Spice. And then this was actually part of my fiber share, and it's fallen apart because it's one of those kind of balls that is a, poof shape. It's actually called a Sturk, which I think means strong. And I think it's from Finland. Anyway, I got it in my fiber share package in my Netherlands. My fiber share partner was from somewhere in Scandinavia, and I can't remember where exactly. But it's Dustor Alpaca is the name of the brand, and it's all in a different language, so I can't tell you much about it. But it looks like it is 40%, I'm going to say, super fine alpaca. Alpaca of some sort. Fineste. 40% merino, some word. And then 20% nylon. So I've got a pretty good idea of what's in it. But it's very soft. That 40% alpaca is, and then, merino is also very soft. Definitely showing itself in here. It's very, very squishy. Yeah, so that's unfortunately all I can show you until it's done. But it is a fun knit, so when I talk about it when it's done, I will tell you all about it. It's living in my lucky fruit bag, even though I don't know that it's really been that lucky lately. I haven't been tracking which projects have been in which bags, but this is my fruit bag from Steel City Stitcher. So there's that one. I also have, oh my gosh, you guys, this sweater is the bane of my existence. I'm pretty sure I shared most of it. I think I was mostly done when I shared it last time. This is my ash sweater. I can't remember what I've said about it, so if I'm repeating myself, I'm sorry. But it's the ash sweater. It's by Quince & Co. The yarn is Plymouth yarn. hand painted, I think. The colorway is blueberry. It's a lot of fun. It's got pockets in the front and a half brioche hem. It's very squishy. However, I knit one of the smallest sizes because I knew from my experience with the worsted boxy, I did not want a ton of positive ease. It's a fairly boxy sweater, so I just went down with one of these smaller sizes. Unfortunately, that means my armholes are a little bit smaller than they normally would be, and I am having a devil of a time picking up and knitting the sleeve for this stupid sweater, which is not a stupid sweater. It'll be a lovely sweater when I actually finish it. I did knit this one, but you can see it looks wonky, like it like balloons out where I pick up because I probably picked up more stitches than what this size would have been, but I knit it with the right number of stitches and it was like super, super tight. So anyway, so I knit this one. I don't love it. This was already the third time I started knitting and ripped it out, and I've just left it. I know it's going to be ripped out, but I was not going to rip it out a fourth time yet. I just wasn't mentally prepared to do that. So, so it still exists. This sweater, or this side of the sweater, I did pick up and knit a sleeve on it. I decided I was going to try to cut out the reverse stockinette part and just do the half brioche and make it just kind of a shorter sleeve. So I did that, but I didn't actually do any decreases, and it really makes a difference. So, so I did rip that out. I think that is what I've landed on, though. I am going to do just the half brioche, so it doesn't have this weird, like, ballooning thing going on, or when it does, it'll look more normal because it's the half brioche and it's squishy anyway. I just need to decrease it right, and yeah, and I have not had the mental capacity to do that. So this sweater, it's in timeout. If I actually get my act together this week, I may manage to finish the sleeves because it only takes like 2 hours to do a little sleeve. Yeah, but I've also got to block it and seam the pockets. But if I manage to do that this week, I may actually end up wearing this to Maryland sheep of wool next weekend. We shall see. I am not committing to anything. But pie in the sky, that may happen. This one is living in my Fat Squirrel bag. Not Fat Squirrel Speaks. I think that's the name of her podcast. Her bags are Fat Squirrel. Which is Amy Beth. She's going to be at Needles Up. I'm sure she will have many bags like this. This one I got at Rhinebeck. The one that my wine colored yarn was sitting in was also a Fat Squirrel bag. It's my sweater one that I got in Maryland last year. I will probably end up with another bag from Needles Up this year. Okay. I think that's all I'm working on. Everything else is acquisitions. I've decided I'm going to go ahead and stick in that video from New Jersey, so I'm not going to talk about all of it, but I will show you a couple of highlights of things that I know were not in that video because I acquired them later or from a different source. So if you want to, feel free to skip the acquisition part. That would be now. But who knows what I'll say by the end because I'm a little loopy anyway, and it may be hilarious. So fair warning that you may miss out. But anyway, okay, so that I know I already talked about. Okay, one thing that I got. This, I don't know. This may be a hot mess, and I may have to do a lot of editing for this part. But like I said, Natalie from Remembrances Pottery was at the New Jersey Wool Walk. She was super generous. And at the end of the wool walk, pulled out a bunch of these buttons that she'd make and was like, okay, guys, have at it. Just take these. I don't have room in my suitcase. These aren't coming home with me, so they should go home with you. So I have a bunch of Remembrances Pottery buttons and things along those lines. So some of these are going to end up as giveaway prizes. Some of them I'm going to keep myself and do something with. But I will show you what I have. There's some leaves that can be used as a pendant and earring set. Leaves, I think I said leaves. There's this very, very beautiful big green button. That one I may keep, but I think I have a second one. I'll keep one probably, but give away another. I've also got these cute little blue triangle buttons, which would be, I've got 8 of them, which would be super cute on a little cardigan. I've got a sugar skull button, a big one like that, and then 2 little sugar skull buttons. And then I also have one more thing that I need to figure out. I think it fell deeper in the bag. Yeah, here it is. This is it's for making stitch markers. It's little bacon and egg and beads. So you just kind of put them all together to make your own stitch markers. So there's one bacon, which would be your like beginning of the round. And then there's little fried eggs. It's the cutest thing ever. She pulled it out and I gasped and she was like, okay, yeah, you can have these. So they're really, really cute. So I have that. Sorry, this one I'm keeping. I'm definitely going to be making these for myself. Super adorable. Not from the New Jersey Wool Walk. So the dyer from Hole in a Wool, which I want to say her name is Alicia, but I don't know because I haven't actually talked to her to know how she pronounces her name, but it's spelled Alesha, I believe. She reached out and wanted to say thank you for, the shout out of the wool that I'd bought in Salt Lake and used to make my ear warmers. And she sent me a skein of yarn. So this is Plenty DK. It's super, super pretty. It's in the Rosemore colorway. It's 100% extra fine superwash merino. It's super soft and squishy. And I'm really excited to have this. I don't know what I'm going to do with it yet, but it is going to be beautiful whenever I use it. So thank you so much. That was very sweet of you to send that. Another random yarn showing up at my house. So I have some coworkers that are all over the country. I work for a very large organization. I work remotely, so I am the only one in my house. There aren't any coworkers who are in my immediate vicinity. And there are just a lot of people around that I interact with in the company. One is a manager of a department that I work with. You don't need the details. I don't know why I'm going into them. But anyway, she wanted to say thank you for some of the work that I was doing on the project that I was in Salt Lake for. And she said a little birdie told her that I like yarn. So so it just showed up at the house one day. She got some sugar and cream yarn, which is some cotton yarn, which is something that I am severely lacking in my stash and was just thinking that I needed some because I wanted to try and make some like face scrubbies. So I have 4 different little skeins of sugar and cream. So I don't know if there are colorways on these. If they are, they're probably oh, there is. So this one is called Faded Denim. This one is called Red, White, and Blue, appropriately. This one is called Summer Splash. It's got a really fun yellow neon colors in there. And then this one is called Key Lime Pie. Yeah, so those will be a lot of fun to do something with. I'm really looking forward to using them because, like I said, cotton is something that I don't have a lot of, but it's very useful for things like washcloths and things like that. So I have those now. And she IM'd me one day and was like, hey, what's your address and what's your favorite color? So I had a little bit of a suspicion that something was coming. I just didn't realize that it would be yarn. That was very sweet of her to find that out about me and send that. And then I have some stuff that I've purchased myself. I'm on Lolo Did It's newsletter, and she put out that she was releasing these boxes, which is probably a thing that people who have followed her for longer knew what they were. I didn't, and I clicked over and was like, oh my gosh, that's adorable. And they're 8 little 10-gram minis in tiny little skeins in just this cube. And they're super cute. And I love minis. So I picked that up. And they're random. She just picks things and puts them together. So I will definitely be using that. These are going to go in my blanket. At least half of it will, because it takes 5 grams to do a square for me, less than 5 grams, and there's 10 grams of each. So we'll see what happens with the other half of them. but I love minis. I totally forgot to mention, as I'm talking acquisitions, the project bag that my Stitch Along is living in is a new stitching bag for me from Joanna of Stitching the High Notes. It's the Maker bag. It's super cute. I love her stitching bags. I love stitching bags in general. They're just very nice, especially when you use a Q-snap. It holds them while it's in the frame. Super awesome. So, I love that. Eric's school had a book fair, and they had this really awesome tote. It says, "Reading takes you on the greatest adventures." Yep, I had to read it, and I was doing that in the mirror, so I'm impressed I came up with that. It's a nice tote, though. It's got one of those little internal pockets, and it zips. It's like, this is going to be great for yarn, so yeah, I picked that up. Oh, so I know that in my video from New Jersey, I did not have the yarn with me that I picked up from Arrow Acres Farm. So that is what this is. It is gorgeous. It is DK, I think. I'm on a DK kick right now. 100% baby alpaca. Yeah, 220 yards, which is about DK. It's called Sea Glass Hunt. And I believe it's their yarn. I mean, it's Arrow Acres Farm, hand-dyed. Wall, New Jersey. I was going to say that, and I wasn't 100% sure. So they're in Wall, New Jersey. Yes, I have 2 skeins because I am trying to buy multiple skeins when I do things, so I actually have a project that I can do with them. I have a lot of single skeins that I'm just not sure what to do with yet. And then I also got a little wool felted soap that you kind of rub, and it uses up the soap, and then eventually it all gets used up on the inside, and you end up with this like thick cake of felted wool. So I got that. It smells really good. Okay, I'm pretty sure everything else in that bag is New Jersey Wool Walk stuff, which I shared in the other video. So the last thing is this, and I'm pretty sure I'm showing the French side because I already took it out to look at. But this is from Brooklyn Haberdashery. Let me try and tilt it. It's a embroidery sampler book that you put together. I saw it on their Instagram, and I was like, that looks really cool. So, like I said, it's the one I'm showing is in French, but I got the one in English. But it shows you, like, it's pre-printed fabric, and you do the stitch over the pattern, and it tells you which one it is, and then where you're doing the stitch is actually washable ink. So you wash it out, and you're just left with your stitch and the word to say what the stitch is. And then you sew it up into this tiny little red book. And then you've got a book full of embroidery samples, which I thought was a really cool idea. So I picked that up. I don't know when I'm going to work on it. It was definitely an impulse. This is adorable, and someday I'll work on it thing. But yeah, it is in my ever-growing list of things that I want to do. Okay. That's all the stuff I have. Let me check my notes. Make sure I actually went through everything. I think I actually have. Which, honestly, is impressive that I managed to do that. That's it. Okay, so just talking about upcoming events. Maryland Sheep and Wool is this upcoming weekend. It is I think it's Friday. No, Needles Up is Friday the 3rd. And I am planning to go to Needles Up. I won't be there early enough for the VIP hour. I didn't sign it. I didn't get tickets. I honestly didn't know I'd be able to go because I was supposed to work, but I managed to request the day off. So I will be going down for Needles Up. And then I will be staying down, which I've never done before. Normally, I'm from Maryland. And so Maryland Sheep and Wool has always been just a day trip for me. I just go on Saturday. I go with my sister. But I am staying down there this year. Last year I drove like halfway home and stayed at my parents' house, but I'm hardly counting that because I was still looking out. So I'll be down at Needles Up. I'm staying down there. I'm staying with the ladies from Cocktail Hour at the Coop, which I'm super excited about. We're gonna have cocktails and hang out and knit and, just enjoy the festival. My sister is still coming on Saturday. She's gonna come pick me up, and we're still gonna go together. I love that tradition. It's just fun to spend the time with her. She was not yarny at all. I think the first time we went. She does crochet a bit now. She's actually working on felt food, which if she'll send me a picture, I'll stick it in, because they're adorable, like the things that she's making. So I think she has a goal to sell at a craft fair this year. So she's like building up an inventory to do it. But anyway, so she's coming down for Saturday. And then I'm still staying down Saturday night, and I'll be going back on Sunday, which again, I've never done the Sunday day. So it'll be fun to do that. I am going to be at the podcaster meetup on Saturday, which I believe is at 1:30. You'll get more details from Cocktail Hour at the Coop, though. So if you want more details and to watch their Maryland sheep and wool tips and tricks, you should check out their episode. And then, so that's Maryland. And then like a little over a week later is when I leave for Texas, because I'm going to Camp Wool Slayer, which is the knitting retreat that the ladies from the Wool Slayers podcast put on, which I'm real excited to go. Honestly, I just decided to go because I wanted to hang out with these virtual friends that I've made, not just Sal and Al, but some of their friends also. Erin in particular. Hi, Erin. Looking forward to meeting, and then a bunch of others. So yeah, it's just going to be fun to hang out and, and experience. After going to Scotland last year, that was like a huge thing. I feel like something that's slightly less huge, but still adventurous and yarny related is definitely something I want to do annually. So this year is Texas. So when I go, though, Alan has graciously offered to host me while I'm there because I'm flying out. And, it's in where you fly, too. Like, you can't fly right to where the retreat is. You'd have to get there somehow anyway. So I'm flying out, and I'm actually meeting them, Sal and Al, in their hometown and driving down with them, which I'm real excited about. Like, I'm totally geeking out about this trip. I'm super pumped. So Alan is hosting me, though. I'm coming out about a day early, and we're going to do a little yarn crawl there in the Dallas area, Fort Worth area. I don't understand how geography works. It's the Dallas-Fort Worth airport, right? So West 7th Wool is the only shop that I know, and I know for sure I want to go to. They're in Fort Worth. So that one and others. So I have so many yarn buying opportunities between Needles Up, Maryland Sheep and Wool, this yarn crawl that I'm going to be doing with Ellen, and then also the Camp Wool Slayers marketplace. There's going to be a marketplace with a bunch of, I think it's like, I can't remember how many. It's a handful of vendors, and it's campers first, and then it's going to be open to the public, and there are some real exciting vendors. So I am so excited for this trip. I can't believe that it's like 3 weeks away now. It's been, I've known that I planned to go since, I think the end of last year. I had, had the thought and was like, yeah, I'm going to make this happen. So now it's happening. So it's like 3 weeks away. So that's real exciting. I think that's everything. So yeah, oh man. So if you've made it through this, I don't even know how long, an hour and 10 minutes. I don't know how much of that's getting cut out. So I'm sure this is going to be a behemoth of an episode, especially because I'm not going to want to edit it that much because I'm not feeling great and I'm tired. Well, I'm tired right now. It's like almost 1 o'clock in the morning, but I'll probably still be tired tomorrow because I'm not feeling great. So we'll see how much effort I put into editing. If it's shabby, just write this episode off as the one to skip, maybe, or not recommend to your friends. Anyway, thank you for joining me. If you are going to be at Maryland Sheep and Wool, please stop by and say hi. I did reorder my pins, so I have a bunch of those coming, so I should be able to hand those out. I have some business cards. I'm going to remember to bring my giant "Hello, my name is Elizabeth Zimmerman" pin, which I forgot for like the last 2 or 3 Yarny events, but I'm going to bring it. So anyway, yes, please stop by and say hi. I would love to chat with you if you are somebody who is a viewer of the podcast, and just say hi. So yeah, so that's it. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye! My hot beverage is now a lukewarm beverage. Not going to fall out of my chair today. Hopefully. Paige would be disappointed. Make sure my hair's not sticking up, because I always do that. I try something on and then poof, and then don't notice. Okay. I am definitely going loopy. Yep, that's it. Really. Bye!